It's your boy LB, Box Talk, Box Fighting, and we're going to talk about the fighter itself. So there was something somebody talked about, me and another guy was talking about, was fighting. And the thing he was saying is that he knows fighters, you know, and I was like, what do you mean by you know fighters? He says, I know fighters, I know good street fighters. And I would say they're not fighters. They're more like reactionaries, like they react to something, but they're not fighters. And just because you've had a lot of street fights in your career doesn't make you a fighter. You know, there's a difference. There's a difference between the man who fights because he loves to do it and the man that fights because he has to do it. It's different. Two different men. Now, you may know a guy who's chilling with you, something happens, y'all get into an altercation, y'all get into a fight with some other guys, y'all fight. That's because you had to fight. Then you meet someone like Burley and the rest of us that go to the gym on an everyday, and we don't have to. We taking time out of our life, our lifetime. The greatest thing you have is your life coins. Your life coins. And we're taking our coins and we're spending them in the gym. We're spending them on the track. We're spending them on sparring. We're spending them here. While you're taking your life coins and you're spending them going to the deli, picking up your girl, going to the movies, drinking, turning up. And then all of a sudden, in the midst of your turn up, you get into an altercation, you fight, and say, yo, my homie's a good fighter. No, he's not a good fighter. He's just somebody reacting in the situation. A good fighter probably wouldn't even be fighting. See, that's the whole confusion to it, is that a good fighter probably wouldn't even be fighting. And if a good fighter is fighting, he's not even fighting. He's just assaulting people, like especially the people who are not on this level. He's Mack trucking them. You know, it's a totally different thing. So a fighter is someone who goes and takes his time that he doesn't have to and put it in a place to better himself in a certain skill. That is a fighter. Your homie sitting next to you, smoking blunts with you, drinking, who gets in an altercation and fights, is just a reactionary, a man who reacted to a situation to protect himself or not to protect himself, to aggress or to be aggressed upon. Either which way, he is not a fighter. So the stories about, yo, my homie's a good fighter, no, he's not a good fighter. He's just out there throwing blows. The good fighters are working on their craft. Or the fighters are the people working on their craft and really putting it in and love to do it. They love to fight. They get into that ring and they love to take those punches. I had one guy that came to me and said, I want to learn how to fight, but I don't want to get punched in the face. See, that is the mind state of the reactionary guy, the reactor, not of the fighter. The fighter's going to come and say, I want to learn how to fight, and please hit me as many times as you need to help me learn. So, it's your boy, LB. What is a fighter? A fighter is a man who loves to fight. What it is, it's your boy, LB, here at Box Talk, Box Corner, Fight Talk, Fight Corner, talking about fighting. Oh, man, and one of the greatest conversations about fighting, one of the best, the ones that I love, don't top this one right here, is that even as a fighter training in a certain skill, when it comes down to fist fighting, the real fighting, that doesn't mean a victory, because sports fights are set up for a certain outcome. It's a controlled experiment. The real fight will not be a controlled experiment. So when you think about certain fighting styles, let's say you're like a Muay Thai guy and you get into a fight in the bar and he rushes you, and you never get a chance to pull off your leg kick because you don't get the space. Y'all give each other space at a Muay Thai fight. Y'all know what each one of y'all trying to do. You trying to kick him, you trying to kick you, you trying to elbow him, you trying to elbow you. In boxing, you try to punch him, he tries to punch you. So just because you have studied said skill doesn't actually mean you can go out into a street fight and pull this off, because the street fight is not a controlled situation. Jiu-jitsu is some good stuff until you have to fight more than one person. So while you wrap up his friend, he's on top of you stomping on your head. You know, you're a boxer, you throw up your hand, ready to give him them hands, give him that beast, and he rushes you like a train, picks you up in the air, drops you on your head. Same thing with the kicker. You got to go to one leg to kick. He closes that gap extremely fast, or you're in the tight spot. You know, you're already in the club situation, people all around you, how you get up in your Muay Thai stance and get to work. So this right here tells you that no matter what you study, the greatest skill that you can get from fighting, all skills, is the confidence to not fight, or the highest level, which is sensitivity, your ability to go with what's coming in. If you're just a boxer and he starts to grapple with you, you're lost. And this is one of the reasons why MMA is one of the truths and the truest combat sport closest to what can really happen, which is you're going to be choked, punched, kicked, dropped on your face, slammed, grounded, pounded, pummeled. All of that can be done. So the best way as a fighter to look at this is to train hard in this many in the elements of fighting that matter. There's only really 3 elements of fighting: punching, kicking, and wrestling. That's it. You know, everything else is built from around that point, or every other system is made a makeup of 1 or 2 of those natural ways of fighting. So you find you an art that champions the top of those 3, and you train in them. You go to the best kicking art, the best punching art, the best grappling art. And in that way, now you have opened up your options for what can really happen. And even then, you know, we're not even talking about introducing weapons, but you have rounded yourself off and put yourself in the better positions to fight against the odds. And the odds are many, and they vary, and they change. So remember, as a fighter, that just because you're in the gym kicking ass in the ring doesn't mean you can step outside that dojo and kick ass then. Even though you have the set techniques to do it, the weapons, you don't have the controlled environment. So it's your boy, Box Talk, Box Corner.